Welcome back, everybody, to another exciting episode on Garden Days. Today I'm going to talk to you about 5 things you didn't know, you may want to know, you might need to know about cucumbers. I got 5 things, and if you stick around to the end, there's a bonus. All I ask is that if you like the video, go ahead and subscribe and hit the like button. Enjoy. All right, number 1. First thing we're going to talk about is the difference between bush cucumbers and vine cucumbers. Well, bush cucumber will only get to about 3 feet across, which makes them perfect for anybody that lives in a dorm, lives in an apartment, lives somewhere where you don't have access to make a garden. You can actually grow a bush cucumber in a 5-gallon bucket. You just drill some holes in the bottom, put in some good dirt, and let nature do the rest. Now, vine, on the other hand, they need a lot of room. I've got both growing in my little box right here. I think the record for like a vine cucumber is like on a trellis that's 20 feet by 30 feet or something like that. It's like 610 square feet of cucumber vine. Now, my bed right here is 4 foot by 8 foot. So that makes 32 square feet. That vine took up over 19 of these beds for just one cucumber vine. I wonder how many the vine produced though. The first one I have right here is a bush cucumber, and as you can see, it's relatively small plant, but it's still got plenty of cucumbers growing. And that's one I picked yesterday. Bush plant. Bush plants tend to get riper or tend to produce cucumbers earlier than vine. And obviously a vine cucumber. Then I have another bush on this side that you can't hardly even see. It's how small it is. And then you can see how big the vine cucumbers get. And down here on the end of this side, I have another bush cucumber. It's relatively small, but it still packs plenty of cucumbers as it grows. All right, number 2, we're going to talk about burpless versus regular cucumbers. Cucumbers have something in them called cucurbitacin, if I'm pronouncing that right. And burpless cucumbers have been bred to have little or no cucurbitacin in them, and that's why they're burpless. And number 3, let's talk about how they grow. You know, cucumbers grow kind of unique in my opinion. At each one of the leaf nodes, is what you would call them, you'll find a leaf node, a tendril, which it uses to climb up your lattice or your trellis. You'll have a female flower and also a male flower, and you'll also have a sucker. And that right there will grow a whole nother vine off of it if you choose to let it do so. Some do, some don't. I'll put in a picture here to show you what I'm talking about. And number 4, we're going to talk about pollinated versus unpollinated when it comes to your cucumbers. Have you ever looked in your cucumber patch and seen one that looks great? I mean, it's growing great, but then the one later on or whatever will be short and stubby, and maybe the end of it is turning yellow and shriveling up. Those are the ones that aren't pollinated. Let's see if we can find 2. It's early in the season yet, and I don't have a good example of an unpollinated cucumber, but here's one that's pollinated, and I'll put in a picture right here to show you the difference between the 2. Number 5, gherkin. Have you ever wondered where a gherkin come from or what it even means to be a gherkin? I bet I do. So I had to look it up, to be honest with you, but gherkin is Dutch for small pickled cucumber. And a lot of people think that they've been around for a very long time. Supposedly Cleopatra ate them because she thought it made her look beautiful. They've been around for like since 2400 BC or something like that. Quite a while. But you can buy gherkin pickle seeds, and according to the seed packets, it says it can grow up to 5 inches long, from 3 to 5 inches long. Well, the way to prevent that is you got to pick early and you got to pick often to keep them a small cucumber or a small pickle. I've never really done them, only because I like cucumbers better than I do gherkin pickles. Thank you for sticking around this long. Now we're going to go into the bonus round. What we're going to talk about next is powdery mildew. That's the #1 killer here in Virginia for killing your cucumber crops. And I want to show you what I use to treat it. Let's go over to the garden shed. This tote is my garden shed. It's where I keep all extra stuff. What I use on it is called copper fungicide. You can concentrate and put it in a garden sprayer, or you can just buy the bottle that I have here. The secret to treating powdery mildew is when you first start to see it appear, if it's just 1 or 2 leaves, you don't have to spray it. Just cut those 2 leaves off. And if you do, make sure you throw them away. Don't just leave them laying on the ground, because then the spores are still in there and they'll come back up on the plant. Don't put them in your compost pile, because then you'll be taking powdery mildew and exposing it to all of your compost. Just simply throw the leaves away. Now, the copper fungicide that I use, it's not for preventative maintenance, only because it does contain copper, and that is a heavy metal. So you don't want to spray it all over your plants and all over the ground too often. But what you need to do is spray the entire plant, under the leaves, on top of the leaves, until it's dripping, if you find that you have quite a bit of powdery mildew. Powdery mildew chokes out the leaf so it can't breathe. Hint, hint, powdery mildew also affects your zucchinis and your squash vines. So if I get it, I will treat it the same way. Here in this bed are also some more vine cucumber plants. The onions there just to ward off other animals, other bugs, just because of the smell of the onion may deter anything from getting to the plants. And here's the back side of it. It's already starting to produce. Also, think about this. Everything in your garden, its sole goal is to reproduce. So if you ever lose a cucumber in the ground vines or whatever, if it gets to where it starts turning yellow and starts getting really big, you run the chance of your plant stopping production, because it thinks that it has successfully reproduced. So the secret to anything in the garden is pick early and pick often. I want to thank y'all for watching. I hope this helped. Please, if you can, subscribe, give me a like, give me a thumbs up. And if you have any questions, just let me know. Thanks again. God bless.